In this video, we're going to create the opening sequence for a show called Extreme Sports. So if I scrub through the animation here, I see that I have the movie of an ocean, and then I have a red box. It's a 3D box that comes rolling in. Whenever it stops, I have a yellow bar that appears, and after that I have the logo of the show Extreme Sports appearing. Now this also contains audio, so if I play it, I would hear the audio file, and the audio file is decreasing in intensity or levels whenever I reach the end. So that's what I want to do in this video. So if I analyze a little bit what I have, I see that I have the footage of the ocean, and then I have the footage of the box rolling in. It's actually a sequence of images that were created inside a 3D program like 3ds Max, but these images come with a transparent background, so we call them a sequence of images with an alpha channel, meaning that the background is transparent. We'll see how to do that. And then we have the logo created in Photoshop, also with a transparent background, and imported into the Avid, and here we're animating the fading of that logo. And at the end, we're going to be adding the audio and animating the fading of the audio as well. So that's what we want to do. So once I launch the Avid, I already have a project called Extreme Sports, so I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it Extreme Sports 1. Alright, and I'll choose 25p PAL, and I'll press OK and OK. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is go to my bins, and here I'm going to be importing my different footage elements. So here I'm going to call the first one video. I'm going to create a new bin which I will call audio. I'll create another bin which I will call images. And that's it so far. I might need something else, but for so far that's what I need. So I'm going to click on the audio first of all. I'll right click in my super bin and I'll choose import, and I'm going to import my audio file. So I'll browse to my external hard disk, and I have my audio folder, and there's the audio file that I'm going to use. So I'll press open. Now I'm going to go to my images, and here I'm going to be importing the actual logo, but I'm going to be doing that in Photoshop later on, so I'm going to skip that to the next step. I'll go to video, however. I'll right click and I'll choose import, and I'm going to go to my video folder, and here I have a box roll folder, so I'm going to double click, and here I see that I have a sequence of images. I don't have really a full QuickTime movie, but I have a sequence of images. So I'm going to select the first one of them, and I'm going to click on options. Make sure that auto detect sequential files is checked, and also make sure that the alpha is using the existing alpha and not ignoring the alpha, because if I ignore to use the alpha channel, this sequence of images will come with its own background, and therefore I cannot see through that sequence. So whenever I'm using the alpha, I'm actually setting its background to transparent, but of course this this sequence of images should have an alpha channel built in. And as I said, this was I built that in 3ds Max. So in case you know how to use that, you can build your own animations with alpha channels. In case you don't, it's not a problem, because normally you'd be handed in the sequence of images that does contain an alpha channel, and therefore you'd work with it the way I'm going to work with it right now. So I'm going to press OK and open, and now my sequence is going to be imported. Now it's a target sequence, so the file extension of every one of those images is targa, and targa is a file format that does contain alpha information. Another format that does contain alpha information would be PNG or TIFF. A JPEG, for example, cannot contain alpha or transparency information, and therefore I cannot use JPEG to store transparency information. Targa is the most used format with alpha channels, so we're going to be using that over here. Now once the images are imported, I'm going to see them as one footage file and not as 100 images, which is what they are. So if I go to text, for example, here, I'm going to see that there's my alpha channel. The duration is 4 seconds because I have 100 frames, and at 25 frames per second I'm going to have 4 seconds. Alright, so that's what I have over here. I'm gonna go back to the brief, and I'm gonna also import the ocean footage. That's a regular video QuickTime file. So I'm gonna press open. This one does not contain any alpha channel information, so it's just a regular QuickTime file. Alright, so now I have a video and I have audio. I still need to create the title, which is Extreme Sports, in Photoshop, and then import it into this bin. So I'm gonna go to Photoshop. I already have it created, but I'm gonna create it from scratch. So File, New, I'm gonna set the width to 720 and the height to 576, and I'll press OK. Alright, so here I'm gonna type Extreme Sports. Of course the size is bigger, so I'm gonna press Ctrl T and scale it down. I don't want extreme to be italic, I just want sports to be italic. So I'm gonna go back to my text tool, select extreme, and go to my character panel and uncheck italic. I also want this to be white, so I'm gonna click on the color and set this to white. Now, of course it's not very visible here, but once I take it to the Avid, the checkerboard is going to be transparent, and I'm just going to see Extreme Sports. Now something else that I want to do is make sure that I save with an alpha channel. So if I go to channels, I see that I have no alpha channel or no transparency information. I'm going to press Control and click over here to select the content. So that's what I want to be visible, and the rest should be transparent. So Control click on the icon of the layer to select the content. Now under channels, I'm going to create a new channel which is called alpha. So directly I get presented with a black screen. So the rule with the alpha channel is that whatever is white is going to be visible, and whatever is black is going to be invisible. So what I need to do is turn whatever is inside Extreme Sports into white. And since it's black already, I can press Ctrl I or invert to turn it into white. And now I can press Ctrl D, and there's my alpha channel created. So I can go back to my layer now. If I choose File and Save As, and I choose Targa, here I have alpha channel checked because I do have an alpha channel, and I'm gonna call it, for example, Extreme Sports, and I'm gonna go to my images for that, and I'm gonna call it Extreme Sports. Also make sure that alpha channels is checked and save. Now here we have to save in 32 bits per pixel so that the alpha channel will be saved along. If we choose 24 or 16 bits, the alpha channel will not be saved along. So make sure that 32 bits per pixel is checked, and I'll press OK. And now I'll go back to my Avid, and there's my images bin. I'll right click and choose import. I'll go to my images, and there's Extreme Sports. Make sure that use existing alpha is checked, and I'll press open, and there it is over here. So in the next video, I'm going to continue and assemble these into a timeline.